Welcome back. Glad you're here. Most men believe attraction begins with words. They think it starts with the perfect text, the perfect compliment, the perfect line at the perfect moment. But attraction almost never starts there. It starts long before language gets involved. It begins in silence, in eye contact, in energy, in subtle behaviors that happen beneath conscious awareness. And here's the truth most men completely miss. A woman will rarely walk directly up to you and announce exactly how she feels. She won't say, "I've decided I'm interested in you. Please notice before I change my mind." That's not how attraction usually works. Instead, women communicate interest indirectly, emotionally, and physically. The problem is that most men are so focused on what to say next that they completely ignore what is already being communicated right in front of them. And by the time they finally realize she was interested, the moment is already gone. That's why today we're talking about the hidden physical signals women display when attraction is present. Not the exaggerated signals you see in movies, not fantasy, real-world behavioral patterns that show up again and again in social interactions. Because once you understand these signals, something changes. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop overanalyzing every conversation. You stop confusing politeness for attraction. And most importantly, you stop missing opportunities that were practically handed to you. Now let me make something clear before we go further. None of these signals guarantee attraction by themselves. Human behavior is nuanced. Context matters, personality matters, comfort matters. But when several of these signs appear together consistently, they often reveal emotional openness and genuine interest. And the first signal starts with something almost every woman does unconsciously. Most men notice when a woman touches her hair. Very few understand why it matters. When a woman feels emotionally engaged around someone she's attracted to, her body naturally becomes more expressive. One of the most common behaviors is touching or adjusting her hair. But here's the important detail. There's a difference between fixing her appearance and slowly playing with her hair while talking to you. A quick adjustment is practical. A slow, lingering touch is emotional. Sometimes she'll tuck her hair behind her ear while holding eye contact. Sometimes her fingers will move through the ends of her hair while she listens to you speak. Sometimes she'll expose the side of her neck without even realizing she's doing it. And psychologically, that matters. The neck is one of the most vulnerable parts of the human body. Exposing it subconsciously communicates comfort and trust. Behavioral researchers have observed this pattern for decades in social interaction studies. When attraction increases, self-touch behaviors increase too. And here's where men make the mistake. They either ignore the signal entirely, or they become so excited by it that they immediately ruin the moment by reacting too intensely. Attraction grows in calmness, not desperation. The confident man notices the energy shift without needing to force anything. Signal 2, she finds reasons to continue the interaction. This signal is massively overlooked. If a woman keeps extending the conversation when she could easily leave, that matters. Think about it. People protect their time, especially today. If she keeps asking follow-up questions, if she keeps restarting conversations after they naturally end, if she keeps finding small reasons to stay engaged, that's emotional investment. A woman who isn't interested usually keeps interactions efficient. Polite, maybe. Friendly, possibly. But short. A woman who likes you often stretches the interaction. She asks unnecessary questions. She brings up random topics. She responds quickly. She keeps the emotional momentum alive. And sometimes the strongest signal isn't what she says. It's the fact that she keeps talking at all. Most men think attraction is dramatic. In reality, attraction is often subtle persistence. It's someone choosing to remain emotionally present with you when they have no obligation to. Signal 3, the accidental touch that isn't really accidental. Now we move into physical territory. This is where many men completely lose awareness. When a woman lightly touches your arm during conversation, taps your shoulder while laughing, brushes against you unnecessarily, or maintains physical closeness she could easily avoid, those behaviors usually carry meaning. Because physical touch changes the emotional atmosphere instantly. Humans are extremely aware of personal space, especially women. So when she willingly enters yours repeatedly, that matters. And no, not every touch means she's deeply attracted. Context matters. Some people are naturally expressive, but repeated touch combined with eye contact, emotional engagement, and proximity creates a very different picture. What she's often doing is testing emotional comfort. She's seeing how you respond. Do you tense up? Do you panic? Do you become awkward? Or do you remain relaxed and grounded? Your reaction communicates confidence more than your words ever could. This is why emotional composure is so powerful. Most men think attraction is built through performance. In reality, attraction is often strengthened through emotional steadiness. Let's talk about one of the strongest indicators of emotional interest. Eye contact. Not the aggressive staring some men mistake for confidence. Not trying to look intense. Real eye contact. Warm, relaxed, present. When a woman maintains prolonged eye contact with you, especially during moments of silence, something deeper is happening psychologically, because silence makes most people uncomfortable. Maintaining eye contact through silence requires emotional openness. And here's something fascinating. Research in social psychology consistently shows that sustained mutual gaze increases feelings of connection and emotional intensity between people. Why? Because attention is emotional currency. When someone gives you prolonged, undivided attention, your nervous system registers significance. Now notice something important. A woman who likes you often looks at you differently than someone being merely polite. Polite eye contact checks in. Interested eye contact lingers. She looks at you while you're talking. She looks at you after you finish talking. She sometimes looks away smiling, then looks back again. And here's the part most men ruin. They get nervous under eye contact and immediately break it. Confidence is not dominating eye contact. Confidence is being comfortable inside it. Signal 5. She mirrors your behavior. This one happens almost entirely subconsciously. When emotional connection increases between two people, their body language often begins syncing naturally. This is called mirroring. If you lean forward, she leans forward. If you slow your voice down, she slows hers down. If you smile, she smiles back almost immediately. Now, mirroring by itself doesn't automatically equal attraction, but strong mirroring often signals emotional rapport and subconscious alignment. And when attraction is present, mirroring tends to intensify. This is why some conversations feel strangely effortless. The rhythm matches, the energy flows, the interaction feels natural instead of forced. You're no longer performing for each other. You're emotionally synchronizing. Most men sabotage this by trying too hard. They become louder, more performative, more exaggerated, but attraction usually deepens through emotional calibration, not emotional chaos. The people who feel magnetic are often the people most comfortable being emotionally grounded. Signal 6. She notices small things about you. A woman who's emotionally interested often remembers details most people forget. She remembers stories you told weeks ago. She notices changes in your mood. She remembers your favorite drink. She notices when you cut your hair. She notices your energy before you say a single word. Why? Because attention follows emotional investment. People naturally observe what emotionally matters to them, and this is something many men underestimate. A woman who pays attention to small details is often revealing emotional focus, especially if she brings those details up later without needing to, because now you're occupying mental space when you're not even present. That's important. Attraction isn't just about chemistry in the moment. It's about psychological continuation afterward. Does she think about you when you're gone? Does she replay interactions? Does your presence emotionally linger? That's where attachment begins forming. Signal 7. She becomes slightly nervous around you. Here's one men misread constantly. Sometimes attraction creates composure. Sometimes it disrupts it. A woman who's attracted to you may suddenly become more self-conscious around you. She fixes her appearance more. She laughs differently. She stumbles slightly over words. She becomes unusually aware of how she's being perceived. Now here's the mistake insecure men make. They assume nervousness means rejection. Not always. Sometimes nervousness means emotional stakes. Think about your own behavior around someone you genuinely wanted. You probably became more aware too, because attraction creates emotional pressure, and that pressure changes behavior. The important thing is this. Does her nervousness pull her away, or does it pull her closer? If she stays engaged despite nervous energy, that usually means interest is still present. Signal 8. She creates opportunities for you to lead. This is one of the biggest signals of all. When a woman feels emotionally comfortable with a man, she often creates small openings for him to take initiative. Not because she lacks confidence, but because attraction naturally creates polarity. She might pause longer during conversation. She might wait for you to suggest the next plan. She might position herself closer to you. She might create moments where escalation feels possible. And this is where hesitation destroys momentum, because attraction has timing. Too aggressive and you ruin comfort. Too passive and emotional energy dies. Most missed opportunities don't happen because attraction wasn't there. They happen because fear delayed action until the emotional window closed. And once emotional momentum disappears, it's difficult to recreate naturally. Now let's talk about the real reason men fail to recognize attraction. It's not because women are impossible to understand, it's because most men are trapped inside their own anxiety. When you desperately want validation, you stop observing clearly. You overanalyze everything. You doubt obvious signs. You seek certainty where certainty doesn't exist. And ironically, the more desperate you are for reassurance, the worse your instincts become. Because desperation creates emotional tunnel vision. Confident men are not confident because they assume every woman wants them. They're confident because they're emotionally calm enough to observe reality without panicking. That changes everything. Attraction is about emotional experience. Here's the deeper truth underneath all these signals. Attraction is emotional before it is logical. People rarely talk themselves into desire. They feel it first. And women especially tend to respond strongly to emotional atmosphere. How do they feel around you? Safe, excited, relaxed, seen, understood, or tense, pressured, awkward, emotionally drained? Your energy matters more than your performance. That's why some men with perfect looks still struggle emotionally, while other men create incredibly strong attraction through confidence, emotional intelligence, humor, calmness, and grounded presence. Because attraction is rarely about one trait, it's about emotional impact. Now here's where most men completely sabotage themselves. The moment they notice attraction, they stop behaving naturally. They either become overly eager or emotionally frozen. Both kill momentum. A woman sends signals because she wants emotional reciprocity, not emotional panic. If every small sign immediately causes you to overinvest emotionally, you communicate insecurity, and insecurity changes the emotional dynamic instantly. This is why emotional self-control matters so much. The attractive man notices signals, but he remains centered. He doesn't rush, he doesn't force, he doesn't act entitled. He simply responds with confidence and emotional presence. That's what creates chemistry. One more thing men absolutely need to understand. Attention is not always attraction. Some women are naturally friendly, some enjoy conversation, some are socially warm with everyone. This is why context matters. You don't look for one isolated signal. You look for clusters. Eye contact plus physical proximity, touch plus sustained engagement, mirroring plus emotional investment. Patterns reveal far more than isolated moments. Emotionally intelligent men pay attention to patterns. Insecure men obsess over single events. There's a huge difference. Do you know why calm confidence feels so attractive? Because it's rare. Most people today are distracted, anxious, emotionally reactive, seeking constant validation. So when someone enters a conversation fully present, grounded, relaxed, and emotionally aware, it immediately stands out. Presence feels powerful, and women notice it far more than men realize. The man who listens properly, the man who remains calm, the man who doesn't need to dominate every interaction, the man who can hold eye contact without intimidation, the man who isn't trying desperately to impress everyone. That energy creates emotional safety, and emotional safety is often what allows attraction to deepen. Zaberji, final truth. Attraction is rarely random. Human beings communicate constantly through body language, emotional energy, tone, attention, proximity, and subtle physical behavior. The problem is not that women never show interest. The problem is that most men were never taught how to recognize emotionally intelligent communication. So they miss signals, they hesitate, they doubt themselves, and then they wonder why opportunities disappear. But once you understand the psychology underneath attraction, something shifts. You stop chasing certainty. You stop forcing interactions. You become more observant, more emotionally aware, more confident in reading energy naturally. And ironically, that calm awareness often makes you far more attractive in the process. Because attraction grows best in emotional confidence, not emotional desperation. So the next time you're talking to a woman, stop focusing so much on the perfect thing to say. Pay attention instead. Notice the eye contact. Notice the physical closeness. Notice the subtle touches. Notice the lingering energy. Notice whether she keeps emotionally investing in the interaction. Because sometimes the signs are already there. And the difference between men who consistently miss attraction and men who naturally create connection often comes down to one thing: awareness. If you made it this far, then you already understand something most people never fully learn. Attraction is less about tricks and more about emotional intelligence. Stay grounded, stay observant, and stop underestimating how much human beings communicate without words. Thanks for watching.